it is my honor to introduce Carla Reid, who serves as the General Manager and Chief Executive Officer at Washington Suburban Sanitary Commission. She's the first woman to serve in this capacity. She'll be speaking with us today about data-driven results and how it meets the human data-driven resistance. Joining me in welcoming Carla to the stage. Thank you.
Thank you, Nadia. 2 days before Christmas 2008. What a mess. Something went terribly wrong in Bethesda, Maryland, which is just a few miles outside of Washington, D.C. Take a look. Wow. You heard right. It was River Road, a street called River Road where all this happened. It was an unexpected, sudden water main break on a 66-inch pipe. And boy, did it stun us. It was gushing, freezing water that totally consumed the vehicles. And it left the passengers in the cars stranded for hours. And just imagine, this is 2 days before Christmas, and you are doing your last-minute errands, right? You might be going to the grocery store, picking up that last gift, and boom, in the next moment, what happens? You're being airlifted by helicopter from your vehicle. And thanks to all these great first responders who took really quick action, we also had swift rescue teams working to rescue these people out of their cars. That day, no lives were lost, but millions of gallons of water were lost. One pipe, one break, one reason why we're all here today. So good morning, H2O people. Good, y'all laughing at me. Good morning, H2O people. Good morning. All right. So that's what I love to call everyone who works with me at WSSC, and that's what we call each other, H2O people. But I consider us all H2O people. We are in the water sector working every single day to make sure that our mission is accomplished to provide safe, clean, reliable water to all of the people that we serve. No matter what you're doing, that's the goal. So, what I want to talk about today is I want to talk about the human-driven resistance, how we fight against those things that we know we should do. When the data tells us that the solution is X, Y, or Z, we still have people resisting, human-driven resistance. And I will restate this in the form of a question. How do we get support to move forward with bold, innovative solutions when we know that they're going to help us to be more efficient and more effective? That's the question for the day. So I started this conversation talking about River Road, my favorite place, my favorite incident in all the world, because at that time that this water main break happened, there was actually a solution, a way we could have foretold that this break was going to happen. But we did not have that technology then. That solution was acoustic fiber optics. And the AFO can detect the leaks, and not only detect them, tell us where they are and whether or not we need to replace the pipe. So what happens with this AFO technology, you can see the diagram. We lay the fiber cable in the pipe, and then that fiber cable indicates when there are wires breaking. That noise makes a ping sound, and when that ping sound comes, then we know, because we get it on our phones, you see the phone there, we get the message on the phone, we know that we got to take some action. We got to move fast. And like I said, this technology actually existed in 2008, and it could have prevented River Road. So Why, if it existed in 2008 and we had knowledge of this technology, why was it not installed in that big pipe? So the reason why it wasn't installed was because human-driven resistance. We had people who are cynics out there who had difficulty realizing the value that the investment could make. Yeah, that's my favorite definition of cynic. It's somebody, and I know everybody out there knows at least one person like this. They know the cost of everything, but then they don't know the value of it. So at WSSC, we have invested $21 million to install AFO in our pipes. A mere $21 million. And guess what it's given us in return? In return, we were notified 20 times of other major breaks like River Road. And how much money did it save us? The value of that $21 million investment was a $42 million saving for our customers. Awesome investment. I would make that investment every single day. Make that decision every single day. But remember, we do have those cynics out there, so we can't always get it done when we want to get it done. When they saw the price tag on the AFO, they were so messed up. You know, we can't spend that much money. They cringed. They cringed when they saw that price tag. But as we have seen, it paid off. And as a matter of fact, WSSC has 102 miles of this acoustic fiber optics installed in our pipes, which makes it the longest system in the United States. So, but you know, what I really think is that it shouldn't take a crisis for us to make this type of move. We should be moving a whole lot more faster. Is that right? Did I say it right? Okay. So when you compare the risk to public safety to the cost of the investment in the technology, it was nothing. We talk a lot about smart water utilities and smart solutions, but we know that the only way that we can be smart, really, is to make bold, forward-facing, innovative solutions to allow us to be more efficient and more effective. In today's fast-paced society, our biggest challenges are rarely technical in nature. Our biggest challenges are people. Yeah, we're people who need people, but no, people are our biggest challenge. They, great people, but a lot of times when we're in a room and which the loudest voice in the room gets all the attention. So they either fight us like cats and dogs, or they want to kick the can down the road 100 miles and do nothing, so they get in our way. Those are the two ways that we have human-driven resistance. So as the leader of one of the largest water and wastewater utilities in the U.S., I make it a priority to invest in innovative solutions because I see the value of it. And I know how critical it is to our mission of providing safe, clean water. We serve at WSSC 1.8 million customers, and they live in Prince George's and Montgomery counties, which are both in Maryland. Our system is big, 5,600 miles of water pipe and about the same amount of pipes, sewer pipes. And if you place those pipes from end to end, from our headquarters in Maryland, they would extend all the way to Australia. It's a lot of pipe. We also treat 164 million gallons of clean drinking water a day, and we have always met the safe water quality standards. And then what I'm really most proud of is in our 101-year history, we have never had a single drinking water quality violation. No, not ever. A big reason for our success is that we've always placed a big priority on innovation. It didn't just start with me. That is what WSSC is really known for. If we go back to 1936, we were the very first water utility to build a water treatment plant using the Morse filter. And Robert Morse was the first chief engineer at WSSC. In 1978, WSSC was the first utility in the U.S. to use trenchless technology to rehab our sewer pipes. In 2016, WSSC was first in the United States to use the zinc-coated ductile iron pipe, which has extended the life of our water pipes to a century. You know, it usually lasts about 50 years to 70 years. With this technology in the pipe material, makes them last for a century. And now I'm proud to say in 2 weeks, we are going to be breaking ground on phase 1 of our bioenergy project. And George knows all about that. That's about turning poop to power. And so we're going to get on that road to turn our poop to power. And we're so very glad that we're doing that. It's going to save us so much money. But in addition to that, it is really the largest construction project that we've done ever in WSSC's history. So we're creating a culture of innovation throughout WSSC. I'm expecting every single employee to embrace it, and I'm expecting people to be thinking very differently about everything they do, not just creating new materials, but also new processes, improving that. And so I created a department that solely focuses on innovation and research. And we're one of the founding members of the Mid-Atlantic Innovation and Research Council, a partnership with several other utilities, also with universities and private sector companies. Together, we combine our resources and maximize our research. Yesterday, that was one of the best days of my life yesterday, because we held our first ever Innovation Day. And what happened during Innovation Day was that people got an opportunity, our employees got an opportunity to present their ideas to a group of sharks. I don't know if anybody here has ever seen Shark Tank. So it was a Shark Tank-like of setup where each person came up and tried to sell their innovation to the sharks. And then they got an emoji feedback about whether or not the innovation blew the minds of the judges, or it just made them feel really good, or they thought it was a good idea, or they didn't give anybody a bad emoji. But, but it was just so awesome to see the energy generated by people taking control of the work that they do every day and trying to find solutions to those problems that they run into. As a matter of fact, we have filed 2 preliminary patents on 2 of those innovations. So you'll be hearing more about those soon when we get the results of that. So yesterday was so awesome. I'm still beaming from it. I had the energy of, I don't know what, but it was just great to see everybody so excited and doing their thing, their innovations. They were good ideas too. So the idea that I want to propose to you is, how do we keep pushing the envelope, getting more ideas, and creating data-driven solutions? I know that I probably have more access to data and information than any of my predecessors. And because of that reason, I probably can make really good decisions, or maybe even better decisions than they could based on what the data tells me. But the difference today is this: social media. People have access to more information than they've ever had. And so that creates a level of scrutiny that, we're not really used to. It's wonderful that the average customer has all that data and they have all that right at their fingertips. And we're very happy that they make their voices heard. But there's not a single person, you know, we didn't have a single person tweeting us back in 1936 when we were doing the Morse filter. No, not one was tweeting us then. The best they could do to give us feedback in 1936 was snail mail. In my experience, human-driven resistance to implementing data-driven solutions happens for 3 reasons. The first one, if you recall from my AFO example, is because we emphasize costs over emphasizing the value. The second reason is that we believe misinformation over the facts. We have access to billions of data points, and while some of that information is accurate, a whole lot of it is not. And some people even spread inaccurate, incorrect information without deference to what the data really says. So I think that those people all must have a degree from a place I call MSU. You're probably familiar with MSU. But I'm really not talking about Michigan State University or Morgan State University or even Mississippi State University. I'm talking about the place called Make Stuff Up. That's what they do. That's the MSU they're from. So getting back to my reasons why we have resistance. The third reason is because of distrust of the data and sometimes distrust of the utility, and not really believing that the decisions we make are really based on having the customer at our forefront, in the forefront of our minds when we make those decisions. A lot of people even say that some of the decisions we make are based on what we want versus what we need. And nothing could be further from the truth than that. Now, I have a sob story to share with you about this human-driven resistance. WSSC has been looking at AMI forever. And not because WSSC doesn't want to implement it like right now. It's because of human-driven resistance. I believe that AMI really is the underpinning of a smart utility. So we need it. We need it. And this technology, as you know, communicates to meters, the water usage, and through cellular technology or through wireless radio. And it's great for the customer because the customer's in control. The customer can look at his or her usage, and they can manage their bills better. And it's great also for WSSC because we can reduce our carbon footprint, reduce our budget, and we can also determine where leaks are. And I really love this idea. It's not even a new idea, but I love it. I know it's a great idea, and I know you will agree with me that it is a great idea, but we have had studies and been trying to implement AMI since 1990, when I was a little girl. 30 years later, it's still not all the way implemented. So why the delay? You may have heard the arguments that, again, too expensive, not factoring in the long-term benefits to the customer or to the utility. Worse, people spread misinformation, putting out health scares, saying that it's going to be a risk to people's health. Also, the distrust factor. Some people believe that the technology is there so that WSSC can monitor them brushing their teeth, or so that we can have access to their personal information, their financial or personal information. And nothing, as you know, could be further from the truth. That technology does not give us that capability. So that human-driven resistance really is on top of more human-driven resistance. And if that wasn't bad enough, this legislative session, WSSC had to work tirelessly to defeat legislation that would prevent us from implementing AMI. Yeah, a challenge that we know that we're going to have to continue to fight until we get it. I'm determined to get it. I came back to WSSC to make sure we got it. No, that's not the reason I came back, but I was at WSSC for 20 years. I left for 10. I came back 3+ years ago just because I wanted to see AMI get implemented. No, that's not the real reason back. But I am determined that we will get it done. But on a more positive note, I think that these human-driven challenges provide us with opportunities to redefine how we engage with our stakeholders. And this is one of my other favorite quotes that's coming up, President Lincoln. Public sentiment is everything. With it, nothing can fail. Without it, nothing can succeed. And that is the truth. So how do we succeed? The key is managing and strengthening our relationships. Managing relationships is how we as a utility and how we as a sector can mitigate those human-driven resistances and implement our data-driven solutions. So again, how do we manage and strengthen those relationships to counter human-driven resistance? I think 3 ways works for me: educate, collaborate, and advocate. This is where leadership comes into play. Leadership determines the results we get. Leaders get things done. And one way to get things done is to educate our stakeholders. We must help them to understand how our needs intersect with their needs. It's our job to lay out the better tomorrow. And then to show them how we can build that together. But before we can do that, we really need to understand our stakeholders. We must truly understand their needs and their desires. And that requires listening. And probably listening like we've never listened before. When we listen to our customers, our employees, elected officials, and other stakeholders, we can develop those relationships. And we can build a community and foster collaboration, the second key. And when we collaborate, we obviously get more done. Well, I get more done when I collaborate. I really do. Well, I feel better about what I'm getting done when I collaborate. And I feel like we get better ideas, we get better solutions, and therefore better results. And then collaboration builds advocates. And when our stakeholders collaborate with us, they understand your needs and then the needs of others, then they will end up advocating for you. And that's what we really want. We want them to testify on behalf of our budgets. We want them to reach out to their elected officials and tell them they support certain projects. And as leaders, we also advocate for funding and projects, but we also want to build and create advocates at the same time. So I leave you with educate, collaborate, and advocate, because these are the critical components of leadership. They really do drive results, and we know the result that we seek as a sector. The result that we seek all the time is safe, clean water, right? Because at the end of the day, it's life's most essential or precious resource. And our conversations must extend to everyone. I mean, our customers, our elected officials, our regulators, the media, and to our employees. Yes, everyone. We can't lose sight of the people. That's why we do what we do. That's why we do the things we do. It's all about the people. Thank you.